Live with studios in Midland and Odessa, you're watching CBS7 First Alert News at 9 on the CW West
So if
Texas.
something ever happened, to us, I'd want, someone to come help us as well.
Texans helping Texans. That's been the motto for weeks as people across the state rally together to help those affected by the Panhandle fires. Here on CBS7, we've shared stories of high schoolers helping, firemen helping, and tonight, veterans helping. How the local VFW is getting involved, coming up in just a few minutes. Thanks for joining us for CBS7 News on the CW, and thanks to those of you joining us live on the CBS7 YouTube. I'm Lauren Munt, and we start tonight tracking crime. The Midland Police Department was called about a shooting at the Meridian apartment complex in Northwest Midland just before 6 o'clock this morning. When officers got there, they saw a man running to a nearby convenience store on Briarwood, who turned out to be the victim. He was taken to a local hospital and released shortly after. The victim declined to press charges, but MPD arrested one person not involved in the shootings on a narcotics charge, and investigators are looking for information on two suspects. And across West Texas, for residents who live in remote areas along the U.S. and Mexico border, dealing with break-ins on private property is more common than you might think. Last month, Terrell County resident Lonnie Ratley was out of the state, leaving his home empty and vulnerable. But because of the security around his home, he was able to see a person breaking into it. Luckily for Ratley, Border Patrol agents were able to make their way to the ranch quickly and apprehend the man. But that is not the case for all break-ins.
Surprised. I was surprised because I thought, golly, if, you'd think that the guy might make some attempt to disguise himself or whatever. And he didn't seem to be apprehensive about anything and was not deterred by my security system, which is very prominent. I put those cameras out there so you can see, everyone can see them.
Luckily for Ratley, Border Patrol agents were able to make their way to the ranch quickly and apprehended him. Because Terrell County is along the border, it has a population of under 800 people. Most deputies in Terrell County are patrolling the border due to the high number of illegal crossings.
But what I have reassured our citizens since I've become sheriff, that if they can't get hold of Border Patrol, call the sheriff's office, and we will either get in touch with Border Patrol, DPS, Texas Parks and Wildlife Game Wardens, or ourselves. We will mount a response, and we will get there as soon as we can. And it doesn't matter if it's one individual or 50 individuals. We're gonna get to our landowners because it's important to us, and that's why we're here.
Since 2020, Cleveland says there has been a 418% increase in apprehensions of migrant crossings. Cleveland has reached out to Governor Abbott for more troopers to patrol the border to help move more deputies back into Terrell County towns. And Heroes for Herds, that's the name for an Odessa fundraiser aimed at helping farmers, ranchers, and their neighbors that were affected by the Panhandle fires. It's a month-long collection event of various supplies that will be taken to Pampa next month.
There's no donation too small, and there's no donation too great.
The Panhandle fires have burned more than 1 million acres of land, killed 2 people and numerous animals. As a livestock owner, Post Commander Rick Mitchell put himself in the shoes of those ranchers and decided that he wanted to organize the fundraiser.
We're trying to help out fellow Texans, and that's what we're about. We're going to help out everybody we can, help out in the community, and now we're reaching out to help out other communities that are in dire need.
The Post has partnered with other VFW posts and a Tractor Supply, but they're still looking for more partners. Any supplies can be dropped off at their post between 8 and 4 o'clock. They've secured transportation and a delivery to Pampa, leaving on April 6th at 6 a.m. We're going to talk your weather forecast now with Chief Meteorologist Tom Teefer-Teller. Tom, it was a cool start to the week on Sunday. Are we going to see more of those temperatures drop, or are we going to warm up a little bit?
Well, things warmed up today. Look at these high temperatures we saw across the area, rebounding nicely a little bit above where we should be this time of the year. Usually we're in the upper 60s today, low to mid 70s across many locations. The warm spots down here towards Terlingua, Lajitas, Rio Grande Village up in the lower 80s this afternoon. Currently, across the city of Odessa, a few high clouds out there at sunset as we're seeing temperatures into the mid 60s across many locations. So things cooling off a little bit, but still close to 80 Down to the lower elevations of Big Bend National Park as we're carrying a south wind now across the area up to 12 miles an hour, and that may bring in a little more in the way of some Gulf moisture for some low clouds across the eastern Permian Basin. You can see that temperature trend not too chilly overnight tonight, and it looks like even warmer temperatures on the way tomorrow.
Thank you, Tom. In your oil and gas news, AAA says the national average for a gallon of regular gas climbed to $3.40 a gallon on Friday. That's a 4-month high, and experts say there is no reason to panic about gas prices, at least not yet. Gas prices always rise at this time of the year as the demand for fuel goes up once winter ends. It also means the end of cheap winter fuel and the switch to the more expensive summer fuel blend. That process is just getting started in most states. This year's late winter jump in prices has been boosted by troubles at refineries, with extreme cold in January knocking some refineries offline. And an Odessa convenience store sold a winning lottery ticket worth an estimated $17.5 million. Heifers and Convenience on North Dixie sold the ticket, but the prize has not been claimed yet. The player chose the numbers to put on the ticket and chose to receive the cash value option, which means that person will get $10,081,454.18. That's before taxes. The winner has 178 days to claim their prize.
Man, I'm just really excited for whoever won. Most of our customers that come through here are locals. They're from Odessa. They're in this area. This is where they live. It's a really neat opportunity for that person. It's a life-changing event. You know, not very often you get made a millionaire overnight.
And according to Matt, Heifers and Convenience has already seen an uptick in lotto ticket sales.
This store has a 70-year history of being a very high winning store, and people are very suspicious and ritualistic. So there's already a lot of people that have come back because of that.
The Texas Lottery recommends that the winner of the jackpot sign the back of the ticket, put it in a safe place, seek financial advisement, and call the Texas Lottery Commission to claim the prize. In your sports news, the UT Permian Basin women's basketball team is headed to the NCAA tournament. The Falcons made it all the way to the Lone Star Conference Championship game yesterday before losing to Texas Women's University. But that was still good enough to get UTBB the 4th seed in the NCAA South Central region. This is already the best season in program history, and now the Falcons are 6 wins away from being national champions.
I'm grateful that the players hung in there during the years where we didn't make it or we were close and we came up short, that all the lessons we learned we get to now kind of get paid for those and see really the product of our work and their buy-in. I'm glad they're getting to experience this together.
We want to continue to keep playing, so the more time we can get to spend with each other on the basketball court, where we all, flourish and, we're all together. That's mainly the main thing, to be able to, stay together and to keep playing.
Their first round game is on Friday night in Denton. And in more local college basketball, the Odessa College Wranglers men and women's team are gearing up for the Region 5 basketball tournaments in Weatherford. Both teams are nationally ranked. And according to last week's poll, the women were ranked number 10 in the country and finished off the regular season going 27-3. The men were ranked number 15 before finishing the season 23-7. The women will face the Temple College Lady Leopards on Wednesday at 5 o'clock. And on Thursday, the men's team will face the Weatherford Kangaroos at 3 in the afternoon. We're going to talk your election news now. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump kicked off a rematch of their 2020 contest with competing rallies over the weekend in Georgia. Our Washington correspondent Julia Benbrook has the latest on the presidential race.
Dueling rallies in Georgia over the weekend as President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump compete for support in this key battleground state. During Trump's speech in Rome, Georgia, the former president took aim at Biden's State of the Union address, calling it partisan and angry.
We all heard Crooked Joe's angry, dark, hate-filled rant of a state of the Union address, didn't it bring us together?
Just about 60 miles away from Trump's speech, Biden spoke in Atlanta and slammed Trump for, quote, who he keeps company with, pointing to U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was at Trump's rally, and right-wing Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, who Trump met with on Friday.
We all know Donald Trump sees a different America, an American story of resentment, revenge, and retribution. That's not me, that's not you.
The race for the U.S. Senate will not come through Georgia like it did in 2020, when Biden won by roughly 12,000 votes, leaving it up to the Biden campaign to mobilize voters without the help of key down-ballot candidates.
The road to the White House goes through Georgia, and I can't wait to continue to make the case alongside Joe Biden in the months ahead.
Biden's Georgia stop helped kick off his campaign's new I'm on Board tour, where Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris have plans to travel to every battleground state in the coming weeks. Reporting in Washington, I'm Julia Benbrook.
Still ahead, it's spring break, but before you can get to Florida beach parties or Colorado ski slopes, you're going to have to travel. We'll tell you why that's becoming a big problem for spring breakers next on CBS 7 News at 9. The U.S. State Department is issuing travel advisories to several popular spring break destinations. CBS 7's Washington correspondent Ryan Henson has the details on how you can prepare for your overseas getaway.
Millions of people are preparing for spring break travel over the next few weeks, and international travelers have extra preparations to keep in mind. Rena Bitter is with the U.S. State Department. She says, first and foremost, make sure your passport is up to date.
It takes about 6 to 8 weeks to process a passport right now. But more importantly, a lot of destinations require 6 weeks validity on your passport in order to be able to enter.
That means the passport still has to be weeks, sometimes months from expiring when you enter another country. The State Department's travel page has information for every country in the world to help travelers stay safe.
On our country information sheets, you'll find information about crime, you'll find information about the healthcare system, transportation, a variety of other things that help Americans just be as informed as possible.
And if you run into issues while abroad, the State Department's website has all the information you'll need for U.S. embassies.
Most people never, ever, ever have to contact the nearest embassy or consulate. But if you do, there are people 24/7 there to assist Americans who need help.
Bitter says while the safety information for certain popular spring break locations like Jamaica haven't changed, travelers should always check the State Department's website for the latest information. In Washington, I'm Ryan Henson.
Here in Texas, the Texas Department of Public Safety is targeting college students with its current anti-drunk driving campaign. According to TxDOT in 2022, during the 10-day spring break season, there were 810 alcohol-related crashes in Texas. 44 people died and 90 people were seriously injured. TxDOT's Spring Break Drive Sober No Regrets campaign is a reminder, especially to college students, to not get behind the wheel under the influence.
Driving while impaired can have massive consequences, but it's completely preventable. The aftermath of a drunk driving crash can continue for years.
If arrested for driving under the influence, you can face jail time and up to $17,000 in fines.
Well, it is definitely spring break weather across West Texas as temperatures today nearing the mid-70s. Tomorrow, 80s in the forecast. Big question is, will it last all week? We'll talk about that. Peek at the weekend up next.
Now, from the CBS7 First Alert Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Well, let's take a look outside on our live iCam in Odessa at a really nice evening out there. We have that crescent moon over in the western sky. You notice it's kind of upside down, so it's a dry moon. That's not faring well for our rain chances, unfortunately, for the rest of the week, as temperatures out there into the mid to lower 60s now. So we're starting to cool off a little bit as winds are out of the south, trying to bring in a hint of Gulf moisture, and that could lead the way to some low clouds, eastern, southeastern Permian Basin into the lower Trans-Pecos first thing in the morning. Now, what we're watching is another storm system. We'll take a better look at it here. Here it is. You can see it really starting to wind up as it moves in across Pacific Northwest back into California. That's going to move into the central portions of the U.S. It's going to be another wind maker for us, unfortunately, and bring a cold front through a little bit later on this week. Probably not as chilly as what we saw this last weekend, though, as again across the state of Texas, you can see some of that low cloudiness now across portions of South Texas as the high clouds are really starting to stream across. Temperatures across the state today Great spring break weather, especially down here at South Padre Island. 80 degrees down there around the Brownsville area, 75 in El Paso, and 70 over towards the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Now, those winds are going to stay around to the south, but then come around to the southwest and then the west coming up for tomorrow afternoon, and they really pick up as we move the clock ahead towards Wednesday. You can see those gusty winds there moving across and into the area, and with that, combined with low humidity levels, fire weather watch is already up for Wednesday morning into the evening hours for mainly all areas of West Texas and southeast New Mexico for a critical fire danger that's going to be in the forecast. So the rest of this evening into the overnight, cooling off a little bit, a little chilly to wake up to first thing in the morning. And then tomorrow, we're going to see those southwest winds come around to the west in many areas, and that's really going to push temperatures up into the low to even mid-80s in some spots across the area. Your CBS7 First Alert exclusive 10-day forecast. Next front arrives late Thursday into Friday. Maybe a couple of showers with it. Then another disturbance may pass through this weekend with a couple of showers. I'm really not big on rain chances, but we'll definitely see a cool down in our forecast for the St. Patrick's Day weekend.
Over the weekend, a video of a gorilla charging his zookeepers circulated social media. Still ahead here on CBS 7 News at 9, we talk about why the video is going viral nearly 6 months later. Some intense moments at the Fort Worth Zoo when a silverback gorilla charged its zookeepers. The incident from last October was caught on video, and it only recently posted online, and it's now gone viral. Ariana De Alba reports.
I think, look! Just as zookeepers served up lunch, a silverback gorilla comes out barreling toward them. Oh my God. Two Fort Worth zookeepers end up in a nightmare situation, face to face with the Fort Worth Zoo's 34-year-old gorilla named Elmo.
It happened during feeding time, so he wasn't supposed to be out whatsoever.
Ben White says he was the first responding officer. The tense moments happened last October, but the former security officer at the zoo posted the video on TikTok Thursday night.
And to wake up to millions and millions of views is just crazy.
The video, now viral with more than 30 million views, as the first zookeeper at a doorway calls for help. Elmo runs around closer to the second zookeeper, who uses her training to stay calm.
Oh my gosh, God help her, God help her, God help her.
Zoo visitors watching, terrified, and praying.
Because obviously we don't want another Harambe incident.
She tries to stay out of sight, and when Elmo runs in the opposite direction, she books it to the door.
The animal is much, much stronger than we are.
That's Florida-based biology professor Dr. Billy Gunnels, an expert in animal behavior.
Unfortunately, it looks like the zookeeper did every single thing they could appropriately.
If she didn't have that reaction, how bad could this have been?
Oh, terrible.
This was a dangerous case, but then we learned something else happened.
Who gave him a cigarette? Yes, that orangutan is holding a cigarette and taking a puff. The Fort Worth Zoo telling us they never thought they'd have to address something like this, urging guests to avoid potentially harming an animal.
Will an orangutan smoke? Yeah, they will. Should we be introducing that? No. I mean, that's crazy.
Thankfully, everyone is safe.
Elmo's actually really sweet.
At the end of that terrifying incident, Elmo even reminds the zookeeper she left her bucket behind her.
Thank you, Lord.
Still ahead, we're going to take a final look at this week's weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Tom Tieferteller. That's next here at 9.
Well, it is spring break week, and Lauren, we want some good weather.
Yes.
Well, we started off nice today. We're going to see about 80 tomorrow. Unfortunately, on Wednesday, we'll have the warm temperatures, but we're also going to see the winds kick in out of the west. So high fire danger concern is going to be in the forecast. It's all ahead of the next storm system and cold front that arrives later on Thursday into Friday. A little bit of breeze with that, but we'll see a gradual drop in temperatures. A few rain showers possible with that front arriving on Friday morning. And it's going to stay cool this weekend. May deal with a passing shower or two, so not too lucky for St. Patrick's Day for your outdoor plans. So try to get out there and enjoy the next couple of days while you can.
Should I be worried about my new plants, Tom?
No,
Okay,
we're not going to see
they're good.
anything near freezing with this next system. So at least a little good news there.
Okay, because I'm trying to keep these ones alive longer than I normally do.
I think it could be okay through at
they'll be
least
okay?
next week.
Okay, they'll last.
But
As long as they last a couple
but
days.
I'm not going to say we're done with freezes just
Okay.
yet. It's just too early.
Okay, so be prepared for them. All right, thanks for watching CBS 7 News at 9 on the CW. We've got more news coming up tonight on CBS 7 News at 10.